BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from the NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline. The game starts here.
What's up, Tiger fans? Welcome back to another episode of Tiger Talk TV. I am the Corey C. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. You don't want to miss a single upcoming episode. You can find us on the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. So be sure to follow the show and tell every Tiger that you know. And remember, when you support Tiger Talk TV, it all helps the cause, which is the I love Jackson State University. All right, and we're back with another Jackson State lady basketball Tiger. She plays the four. She wears the four. Zaria Glover. Welcome to Tiger Talk TV. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well. Doing well. We've been looking forward to this. We've been wanting you on the show for a while. Fans want to get to know you. So let's get to it. Let's start out with a fun fact. We'd like to begin the show with something from you that's not basketball related, that's interesting, funny, embarrassing, wherever you want to go with. Catch us off guard with something.
Um, Something interesting. I'm a jack of all trades. One of my favorite hobbies outside of playing basketball is to paint.
Okay.
Whether it be just a beautiful sunset or something, a cartoon character, anything. It just puts my mind at ease. So I guess that's an
Wow.
interesting fact.
How'd you get into that? Did you have training on that? Does it run in the family or did you just pick up on it one day?
I just picked up a canvas when I was at Walmart and
Mhm.
looked up something on Pinterest and just copied and pasted, honestly.
Nice, nice. All right, all right. So let's get to it. Tell us where you're from and where you grew up.
I was born in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I was raised in Hayward, California. I
Okay.
ended up going back to Las Vegas to graduate high school my senior year, and that's pretty much it.
So you only spent 1 year of high school basketball in Las Vegas, right? That was your senior year.
My junior year, I played AAU out there, but
Okay.
high school, actual basketball, I was only my senior year.
Okay, okay. Wow, Las Vegas, Las Vegas. So there's a lot of buzz going on right now around Jackson State regarding Las Vegas. I'm sure you know why, right?
Of course. Welcome to Vegas. Come play great football out there.
What went through your mind when you first saw that?
Honestly, I just was trying to figure out how I can get
Mm,
good seating, good tickets, honestly. Hopefully, I can make it to the game, sit
so
real close.
that's the tricky part. You have another year, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The game is October 25th, and that's
Correct.
usually right around the start of basketball season. I know this current season, the first game was October 26th. Now that was an
Correct.
exhibition game, but I don't know if you've seen a peek of the schedule next season, but are you keeping your fingers crossed and hoping that you'll be able to go and hoping that we won't have a game that day?
Hopefully, honestly, I haven't seen next year's schedule or, even thought about the fact that our first game was October 26th. So, I mean, I'll probably just have to tune in live stream after
Yeah.
that fact. So,
Yeah, I hope you can make it. I definitely would. I know you want to be there, but I hope you'll be able to go out there and watch that game in your hometown. I know that'll be special. So when did you? I know you said you were born there and then you went to California. When did you leave Las Vegas for California? How old were you?
I left Las Vegas around the third grade, and I
Okay.
went to Northern California,
Okay.
and everything just started from there, from elementary school all the way to my junior year, and then came back to Las Vegas, like I said, and graduated.
How did you get into basketball? When did that start?
Honestly, I may not seem that tall now because there's a lot of people who are a lot taller than
Hmm.
me now, but in the third grade, I was a pretty tall third grader. And the first thing that people said when I got to California and enrolled in school, honestly, it was like, oh, we have a basketball team, we have a church league.
Hmm.
And then from there, I just kind of picked up on it and started going to training and stuff because I wasn't very coordinated. So I
Okay.
had to figure out how to work with my body and just develop and things like that. So
So you weren't good right away.
not at all. I didn't probably get good until eighth grade, maybe
Okay.
ninth grade. Yeah.
So you stuck to it because a lot of times at that age, if you're not good, especially
Right.
a girl, you're like, you know what, forget this. I'm not good. I'm not
Right.
that good. So what was it about it? Did you just love it, or you knew you would get better, or are you just that person that I'm not going to quit?
Honestly, I have two big brothers, and I've always just followed in their footsteps in the most positive way. And I wasn't always just into the girly things that typical girls are interested in. So I just like I was always outside or playing catch or doing something athletic. So I was just like, I've already started now. Like I just want to continue. It was fun to me, uncoordinated and all. So
Hmm.
I just found joy in it regardless.
And how big was basketball there in Northern California from the youth level all the way up to the high school level?
Basketball is pretty big in Northern California, so that's also why I ended up staying. I started playing AAU in the fourth grade,
Hmm.
and I had a coach that has a team from fourth graders to 17 youth. So that was our AAU team and things like that. And honestly, I stuck it out with them as long as I could until I got back to Vegas. And it was pretty big. Baller TV, Baller's Life. It was a lot of media around it. So being on camera and getting good mixtapes at that age was the
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like, so that was a pretty big thing out there. We had great gyms out there, facilities to host AAU tournaments. Ended up traveling to Vegas a few times for the summer league and summer AAU tournaments. So it was pretty big out there.
You said you kind of figured it out around the eighth grade and started playing better, but when did you know you were actually like good in terms of possibly being able to go and play in college?
Honestly, I received my first college letter, just a letter of interest, in the eighth grade, and I continued like from there on.
Wow.
Some of them included like I had GCU, I had Washington, I also had Columbia. Things just kind of just started like falling into place, like with recruiting, and of course, it just continued or went how it went from there.
And then talk about your senior year when you really started to put it all together. I know that was a big season for you.
My senior year, I went back to Vegas, and I ended up living with my grandparents. And it was a decision between two high schools. One of them was Spring Valley High School, and the other one was Durango High School. And honestly, Spring Valley had a pretty stacked team at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always found myself being the underdog in a sense, whether it be with basketball or honestly anything that I want to be successful within. So I decided to go to a team that didn't have a stacked roster, and I ended up
Mm-hmm.
going to Durango. And for the first time, we ended up going to the second round playoffs my senior year. We also that was the first time we actually had even won a game. The year before,
Wow.
they
Mm-hmm.
went 0-16, so it
Mm.
was like just like why not? Like why not go pick up another team and put them on the map in a sense because honestly, like when people ask me now, they're like, "Where are you from?" And I say Vegas, but when they hear like, "Oh well, I've been in California from the third to 11th grade," they're like, "You're really from California then?" But
Mm-hmm.
like, nah, I'd rather put on for Vegas because
Okay.
I don't think you really meet a lot of people from Las Vegas, especially in
No,
Mississippi. So
no, not at
I'd
all.
rather
Yeah.
just say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So, and you talked about your recruitment and starting to get letters and receive college interest. So you ultimately wind up at Northwest Mississippi Community College. How in the world did you end up in Mississippi of all places?
So my recruitment process was kind of shaky my senior year, just because I hadn't been in Las Vegas until my senior year, and I didn't have any film from my junior year because of COVID. I did play a few games during AAU season, but it didn't get enough recognition with the footage that I needed to send to coaches. My sophomore year, I actually broke my ankle, so everything was just kind of
Mm-hmm.
shaky to send like good film to people or to really have my name out there. So when I did get a conversation with the coach, he ended up telling me, "Oh, I want to offer you a full ride." And then he called me and he's like, "Oh, I'm resigning." but I do know
Mm.
somebody who's getting a head coaching job at this junior college. And that's where I ended up getting in contact with Latera Williams, the head coach at Northwest. And honestly, if I'm not mistaken, I got my offer from Northwest August 7th. I ended up
Wow.
signing August 10th, and then I flew out there a week later. So everything was just really fast with that decision. It was a very vast decision and a very wholesome decision, but it put me in the right place. So I don't
So
regret it
it
at
was
all.
cutting it close. It was cutting it real close. Did you get discouraged? Were you thinking that you may not be able to go to college to play basketball? And had you start thinking of a backup plan, maybe just to enroll as a regular student or just get a job, go to the
And
military? I mean,
in all honesty, there also is a junior college in Nevada called College of Southern Nevada, and Coach Savage was also recruiting me very heavy, but just something in me just wasn't really willing to stay home
mm,
and go to college out there. So I also had a thought in my mind to walk on at UNLV, but
mm,
that didn't really go how I wanted it to go. So I wasn't discouraged that I wasn't going to play basketball because I did have contact with Coach Savage still, and he was still willing to provide and help me any way possible. So I had a I had hope within the process, and then Northwest came, and I honestly just took the opportunity and ran with it.
when you got that offer from Northwest and when you started speaking to Coach Williams, what did you know about Mississippi? Had you ever been there? And did you go on a visit? Well, you didn't even have time to go visit. You just had to just pull up and like, okay, this is it. No turning back.
Yeah, so I had did like a little research online, just trying to like see what I can see about the college, but Google Photos aren't really updated nowadays, so I
Mhm,
didn't really get to see much. And then he also would like send me videos of the facilities, the buildings, the dorms and stuff. So I got to see enough to convince me that okay, this seems like a good environment. Like this seems like a really good school. And then when I actually got to Mississippi, like driving from the airport, like I
mhm.
was like, this isn't what I pictured at all. Like
Okay.
especially being from a big city like Las Vegas, like it was nothing. Nothing was the same. Honestly, it was a huge culture shock. The environment was completely different. But like I said, I took the opportunity and I ran with it, and I made it what it. I made it what I could make it. So
Which airport do you fly into?
I flew into Memphis.
Memphis. Okay. When you talk about the culture shock, I can imagine that was a culture shock. What were you expecting and what did you see? Be a little bit more specific on that. The good, the bad,
Was
and
I
the ugly.
what was I expecting? Honestly, I had nothing like I didn't have like anything like in my head like this is what I'm gonna walk into. It was really
Mm.
I was really blind, honestly. Like
Okay.
I had I had never even FaceTime my head coach. I just talked to him over the phone, but I
So,
did see like
wow.
pictures on Instagram and stuff.
Wow.
So that was that. As far as Senatobia, it's
Yeah.
definitely not something that like I can honestly say like if I had went on a visit, I would probably talk to my parents like I don't really know how I feel about it. Like
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
city, Senatobia is very small. It's almost like a truck stop city. So it's just like
Hmm.
there's nothing really there besides a Subway, a Taco
Mm.
Bell, just a few food spots, gas stations, and then one Walmart. That's literally right across
Hmm.
the street from Northwest. So when I got there, I'm like, I mean, at least I have my groceries across the street, like a good store that if I needed anything, like it's right here.
Hmm.
And I honestly was just like, this is a conversation that I had with God, just like, my way is already written, and I'm
Mm.
willing to walk by faith and not by sight
Mm.
in regards to what I had seen in Senatobia. So, like, I just put my big girl pants on and
Yeah.
try to interpret God's word in the best way and
Wow.
continue from there. So,
Wow.
like I said, it wasn't anything I just had in my mind, like, this is what I want to see, this is what I
Hmm.
expect. But Northwest campus is beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
it's honestly, when I
Hmm.
was traveling with my junior college for games and stuff, besides Mississippi Gulf Coast, I can't really think of another campus that was just as nice
Okay.
looking and up to date
Hmm.
as it's very modernized. Like
Yeah.
the buildings are nice. It's like I said, so I wasn't really upset at all. I wasn't upset at all, honestly. Despite it being a truck stop city, I was
Yeah.
okay because I was on campus most of the time anyway. So.
How long did it get you to really adjust and just settle in and say, okay, I'm here and it's all good?
So, well, here's an interesting. This is something funny, kind of embarrassing, I guess. When I had first got to Northwest, being that I had enrolled so late, like things were kind of They were like backed up. So like I had my name in the system within the school, but like when it came to class, so like my first day of class, it's raining outside. It's so humid. This is not something that I've ever even. The weather's not something I felt before. It's raining, it's humid, and it's hot. So I'm like, it's raining and it's hot. Like this is it doesn't really make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I had just bought a fresh pair of shoes. Like so, I'm like, I'm gonna, kind of get dressed a little bit, go to class, make a good first image for myself. And I'm walking in the rain and I'm just getting soaking wet. I have an umbrella, but like the umbrella's not catching all the water that I needed to catch.
Mm.
I'm soaking wet. I get to class and I'm like walking in, like kind of breathing kind of heavy because I'm not really used to, I don't know campus at all. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
walking around and I get into class and everyone's looking at me and the teacher's like, I just took roll. What's your name? And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Zaria Glover. She's like, I don't have you on my roster. Are you sure you're in the right class? And I'm like, there's just no way. Mind you,
Mm-hmm.
the dorm to the class that I was at, it's just so far across campus. So I walked across campus for technically no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I called my coach and I'm like, Coach, like this teacher doesn't have me in her on her roster. He's like, okay, well, I'm in Oxford, so I'm gonna come up there, but Oxford was about 45 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
I try to go back to my dorm. My key isn't working to swipe to get in the building. So I'm sitting outside in the rain. I don't know my teammates enough to call them
Mm-hmm.
and like, hey, can someone let me in the building? No one
Mm-hmm.
was coming to the building yet because everybody's in class. So it's just like the first day was pretty miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And I called my mom and I'm like, I want to come home. Like, I can't do this. Like,
Were you crying yet?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty, yes, I was crying. I was
Mm-hmm.
I was crying like a baby,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. I was just so ready to go home. And my mom's she's like, well, if you want to come home, like I can send you a flight, but like, are you sure? Like she wasn't gonna question anything because like I'm her baby. I'm my mom's only girl and her baby of her 3 kids. So she's just like, I'm miserable without you too. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad you want to come back home. Like you left me anyway. Of course she's happy for my success, but she's like, well, if you're uncomfortable or things aren't going right, like, but then she also did tell me too, like, just take a deep breath,
Mm-hmm.
think about it, wait for your coach, find somewhere to cover yourself up from the rain, like it's gonna be okay. Call me in 10 minutes and tell me how you
Mm-hmm.
feel and all this stuff. So she wasn't just too serious about really sending a flight or anything. She was gonna let me figure it out and really adjust the way I needed to because adversity always shows it always finds a way to show you like how to learn and to
Mm-hmm.
grow within any situation. So that's exactly what I did. I just waited for my coach and then we figured it out together from there.
Wow. From there, how long would you say it took for you to become comfortable and call mom back and say, not just I'm okay, but I'm staying?
Um so this was actually like so my coach picked me up from the airport, but like we talked a little bit on the road and stuff like that, but it wasn't nothing crazy. Nothing like too intimate, like to like really get to know each other in a sense. So like when he see me, he's like he understands like I'm frustrated right now. Like he told me he's like hey kid, like everything's gonna be okay. Like we're gonna get this together. We're gonna figure out your classes, your housing, and everything. And that was the first like real interaction that we had besides like a FaceTime call or
Mm-hmm.
a phone call or anything. And honestly, that's when I felt myself like get comfortable because like to know that somebody is willing to of course he had to help me but like to know that he was very welcoming and comforting in the situation. He helped me figure things out in that day. Like he did everything that he needed to do to make sure that my mind checked in with him as a coach and to understand like okay, it's okay, like you're comfortable, you can be comfortable, you're welcomed here, like all the stuff. So after that day, honestly, my mind was at ease in a sense. It did take me, of course, to continue to adjust with like my teammates and other people around me to get to know my peers and stuff. So I probably, after that day, maybe like another week just to fall into place, get all my stuff in my dorm and things like that. So it didn't really take me that long. So yeah, I'm a very social person. So I was able to
Okay.
engage with people and, you know,
Yeah.
go from there.
And how comforting and welcoming were the people of Senatobia, the citizens, just in, because they say Mississippi is a hospitality state. So coming from the West Coast, what was the difference in the people and how they welcomed you and made you feel at home?
Um, for example, like going to a food spot, walking in, they're welcoming me into their restaurant, whether it be a fast food restaurant or a sit down restaurant. Like they're introducing me, they're telling me about a new item on the menu. Like the people out here are very welcoming. Like you said, the Southern hospitality, it stands out, like it sticks out like a sore thumb. Like it's
Mhm.
something you can't miss. In
Yeah.
the West Coast, not to even say that people are just rude out there, it's just not really something that you see. Like you walk into a store or a fast food restaurant, like I said, and they won't say anything to you until you're ready to order your food. Like,
Mm.
and that was just the biggest thing to me. Like when my mom asked me, like, well, what do you like so much about it? Like, and it's just like it's comforting. Like it feels like
Mm.
home, no matter where I'm at. People make sure that you're okay, and that was just the biggest thing,
Yeah.
honestly. The Southern hospitality.
And what about the Southern accents? Did it take you a while to get used to that and what people were saying, understanding what people were saying?
It didn't take me a while to get used to it, but it took a while for other people to get used to my
Okay.
way of talking and my
Mhm.
lingo. It was proper to them. So they're like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't have to
Yeah.
say the whole word. You don't have to like, and I'm telling them, well, you guys don't even say the whole word. Like when people would say things,
That's too
I used to
funny.
I used to get them and I'm like, well, how do you even spell that?
Yeah.
And they spell it the way that I'm saying it, but not how they're saying it. So it's
Wow.
just like people really had to adjust how I talk. That was the thing. Just a
Yeah.
proper. It was so funny. Like they're like, you're proper. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
proper. I thought this is how we're supposed to talk. Like,
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. You talked about that weather, adjusting to that weather. Talk about the Mississippi summers compared to the Las Vegas summers. And I say that because people in Mississippi complain about how hot. Not saying it's not hot, it's hot. But I'm from Mississippi. I've lived in Florida, Jacksonville, Orlando, Miami, so I've experienced those summers. Jacksonville and Miami, they're both near the ocean, so that's a little bit different. But I've been to Las Vegas in the summer, and that's a different animal. So just talk about the summers in Mississippi compared to Las Vegas.
the difference would be the humidity. Honestly, like Nevada, the state, period. Like it doesn't matter where you are. Like it's just extremely hot. Like it's a dry heat. Like it burns. Like it really hurts, honestly. But
Mm,
like when you step outside in Mississippi in the summertime, your lotion just slides right off your body. Like
hmm.
everything becomes like your arms become like it's like wet. Like it feels sticky. By the time you come back in the
Yep.
house, it's just like I have
Yep.
to jump in the shower now.
Yep.
Like so like I feel like I sweat a lot more. Like no,
That's
like
true.
it was just hard, honestly. Like no matter how I could have shorts and a tank top on, and I'm struggling. Like Las Vegas, like of course I'm used to it in a sense, kind of because I was
Mhm.
really in California, but like
California, that's right.
Nevada was just it was very very. I don't
Yeah.
know, y'all. The fans, the football players in October is hot. Y'all go
Hmm.
see when y'all get there. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely,
very hot.
definitely. We can't wait to get out there. We can't wait to get out there. So let's talk about ball at Northwest Mississippi Community College. You were there for 2 years, so talk about your playing days as a Lady Ranger.
My freshman year, it was it was kind of hard. It was actually kind of hard.
Mm,
The team that was established was not the team that Coach Williams got to recruit. So he was also learning everybody as basketball players, and not only as basketball players, but as women as well. So you can only imagine like how he had to adjust to. He probably had to rewatch film on
mhm,
all of us besides me and one other person because he recruited two people on that roster my freshman year, and everybody else was from a coach that ended up resigning, but
mhm,
those people had already signed their papers, so they ended up staying.
mm,
Um, the league wasn't hard to adjust to, but I would say the biggest thing that I had to adjust to was the size difference. Um, People out here, women out here, like they're tough. Like they're
mm,
they're very tough. Like in the West Coast basketball, and I can honestly say this, like in the West Coast basketball is more of a finesse game. Like
okay.
how they play is a little bit more. It's a little bit smoother. It's a
Hmm.
little bit cuter, I guess you would say.
Yep.
Like it's not really as aggressive as it is out here. So I had to adjust to, of course, the contact part of it, the contact aspect of it, the fans as well. Like when I went to certain schools in my league, like the fans were pretty, I would say aggressive, but like they did what they had to do as a student section. They made sure that we were
Hmm.
hearing what they had to say. That was also something that I had to adjust to. Like we don't really have that back home. Like it's not it's not as intense. But I liked it. As soon as I adjusted to it, like I was looking for a crowd. When we walked into gyms, I'm like, I hope this gym is gonna be packed. Like
Okay.
when the gym wasn't packed, it was like it wasn't the best game. It wasn't as
The same.
fun, but definitely the fan bases is something I had to adjust to in the context. So
Mhm. And your head coach, Coach Williams, he said that there were some major improvements in your game during your sophomore year. You had a really big jump, and you became one of the more consistent players on the team, and you helped them reach the postseason. So, how did your game improve from the time you got there to the time you left?
honestly, I got in the gym.
Hmm.
It was the most I've had. It was the most I had ever been in the gym. Honestly, just getting on the gun, shooting the ball. That's what really stood out to coaches my sophomore year was the way that I could shoot the ball, the way that I could score on all three levels, especially at my size. So just getting in the gym, honestly, I had made friends with someone named Braxton Taylor. He was the men's basketball manager.
Hmm.
And honestly, he pushed me to get in the gym at any given time. Oh, I'm not in
Hmm.
class, get in the gym.
Hmm.
I thought I was about to take a nap, get in the gym. You just ate food, like you just ate in the calf, get in the gym. You just lifted weights, go get in the gym. Like it was literally just me getting in the gym. And also watching film. As a visual learner, of course I can hear and learn, but like with the game of basketball, watching film is very important, and that's something that I did like on a daily basis. It became my Netflix. Like
Yeah.
I want to watch TV, go watch film. Like get in the gym. Like that was the main thing, just getting in the gym and watching film.
Wow. See, that's the good part about not having much to do in Senatobia. You can get in the gym. You can spend more time in the gym. Nothing else to do. Nothing much
Right,
to do. All right. So you finished up your time there and you decided to stay in the SIP. So obviously you like it at this point because this is your chance to, this is your get out of jail free card, right? It's just a
right,
chance to leave.
exactly.
But no, when and how did Jackson State get involved in the recruitment?
Jackson State came. Jackson State came pretty late, honestly. Also, I mean, everybody may know now. Like my coach got her job
Mm-hmm.
kind of
May,
late in the summer, so
May.
everything just came like I said. It can't. Here comes another vast decision I had to make, and it
Okay.
wasn't. It wasn't very hard, honestly. I was on my. I literally was on my way to Houston to fly to Houston and to go to visit at the University of Houston. And I was telling Coach Richards like, "Hey, Coach, like I'm about to go visit University of Houston, and honestly, I'll tell you how it goes from there." She was very understanding and supportive of my choice to continue to go on the visit. She's
Of
like,
course.
"Well, I'm still here if you end up going and not liking it or whatever the case may be." And that stuck out to me because as a player, it's hard to tell other coaches who you're being recruited by because they may back out, whether they
Hmm.
feel like that school is bigger than their school
Yep.
and they think you're going to commit there or anything. Like, but Coach Richards was very supportive and comforting of my decision, which also led me into making the decision I made to come here. Our conversations were. I mean, I feel like every coach recruits not the same way, but they do their job enough to make sure like the player feels comfortable, whether that's how they really are or not. So, but Coach Richards did a good job of talking to me, communicating to me, like telling me what she wanted to see in me and what she already sees in me and how we could progress together. So that's how Jackson State came about, and that's how I made my decision.
Wow. So did you get a chance to actually come to Jackson on a visit before you committed? Did you have enough time?
No,
Wow. So you visited Houston, didn't
yeah,
visit Jackson, and still chose Jackson just based. So it was really based on the relationship you had built with Coach Richards.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So you get to Jackson, and what was that kind of the first impressions of the city and especially the school?
The city kind of was like my experience with Senatobia. I didn't really
Mhm.
have any when I had posted like my conversation, like, oh, I just had a conversation with Jackson State because that was my way of telling other coaches like through social media, like, oh, this is also who I'm being recruited
Mhm.
by. This is another opportunity that I have. And when I had posted about it, I had a few like people that are from Mississippi like tell me like, hey, be safe out there. Like when you get there, don't go here, don't do this. That was the only thing that was in my head. But I mean, when I
Mhm.
got here, I figured it out pretty fast.
Mhm.
Um, campus wise, it's a beautiful campus. It's what it is. Like I like it a lot. The gym, the size, that's
Hmm.
what kind of was breathtaking. It was like it's probably the biggest gym that I've ever played in, honestly.
Hmm.
Besides now, like being that we traveled really
On the road,
far in
yeah.
non-conference and anything,
Yeah.
but before Jackson State, it's the biggest gym that I played in. The dorms stood out to me. I like that I have my own room because I didn't have that JUCO.
Mm.
That's pretty much it though. Jackson State, yeah.
And then another first year coach, because Coach Williams at Northwest, that was his first year, right?
Hmm.
And then now Coach Richards, but talking about building a team from scratch, from the ground up, right? No returning players from the previous season. So what was it like being a part of that and seeing a team being built from the ground up?
Um, I wasn't I wasn't really aware of how much different our team was. Honestly, if I'm not mistaken, I think we only have two. No, I'm not mistaken. We do only have two people who are from Mississippi, Jakayla Esco and Ariana
Darrell.
Durrell.
Hmm.
So everybody comes from every part of the world, honestly. We have someone from Canada, we have someone from
Yep.
New Mexico, Kenya. So what stood out to me the most was the way that we all kept our minds and hearts open to the differences that we've all were raised in. Our livelihoods are completely different. Of course, we know how to be basketball players and be teammates because we've been doing it for so long. So it wasn't hard to adjust as far as being teammates, and it wasn't hard to adjust as far as just outside of the gym. Like outside of basketball, we got to know each other very well. We took the time to go eat with each other,
Hmm.
go to like a trail ride together. We spent time throughout the summer to build chemistry outside of the gym, which is why I think our success is so strong right now because you have to know somebody beyond being an athlete. Like that's how you build chemistry to know how to talk to them on the court or know what to say and when to say something, how to pick them up, how to be a great teammate to them because it's not just about basketball. Like it is, but it
Hmm.
isn't.
Hmm. And the fan base has really rallied around this team. How has that support been and what has that meant to you?
The fan base is also something that Jackson State brought that's new to me. Like the
Mm.
fan base is very strong. When I committed, my social media was going crazy. They
Mm.
very supporting in my inbox. Hey, if you need anything, I know you're a kid all the way from Las Vegas. Like
Wow.
just really supportive. And honestly, I loved it. That's also why my decision was very, how can I say this? Like when I made the decision, like I didn't regret it at all. I didn't
Hmm.
question it afterwards. Like I felt the love from a distance before I even got to Jackson. The fans at home games or away games are very supportive. When we played at Alcorn, that was actually phenomenal. I think we
Mm.
may have had more Jackson State fans in the gym than we did Alcorn fans, honestly.
Hmm.
And that's also how we got through that game. Like I said, that
Mm.
was a very tough game. Obviously, the chemistry with our basketball team and the things that Coach Richards had instilled in us over the non-conference season and things like that helped a lot. But the fan bases definitely carry us through a lot of our tough games and home games. So
Wow. Coach Richards talked about that Alcorn game. She talked about the intensity of it, and for a lot of you, especially you, because you had some teammates who came from a lower division, so not used to that type of environment or that intensity. So that was kind of a wake up call for you. When did you know that this team would be as good as it's been?
non-conference.
Doing it, okay.
Um, I mean, as you guys know, we
Mm.
played Power Five after Power Five. So
Hmm.
just seeing like the way that we could compete. Of course, we didn't. We won our two games, and those two games are very important. But the fight that we did put up against teams that obviously the probability of us winning wasn't what everybody.
Hmm.
It was. It was doubted. It was heavily
Yeah.
doubted. But the fight that we put up against people, that's what I think made me realize like, come conference play, we're gonna be in a great spot. Not to be cocky or anything, but I could tell by the way that we competed against higher, high major schools, and I wouldn't say better athletes, but they have a different skill set than us, body frames than us, and we put up a great fight. And I knew
Hmm.
that come conference play, like I said, it was going to be a great show for everybody.
Wow. Talk about your role on the team and what Coach Richards expects from you. Just and you can go back to the beginning when she was recruiting you, talking about what she expected and how that has kind of evolved.
So after her watching film, she seen what type of player I am. She seen my body frame. She told me she wants me to, on the offensive end, score when I can, shoot the ball, attack the basket, be an athlete, be long. On the defensive end, I need to defend and rebound. Um, I was playing a guard at my junior college, and when I came here, she told me, like, I see success with you playing at the 4 spot.
Hmm.
And I kind of questioned it, honestly, because I'm like, when I'm looking at the roster and things and the roster of other teams within our
Hmm.
conference, I'm like, I'm probably the smallest forward
Yep.
in the conference. And she told me, well, that's what is going to be your strength within the game. Like, could
Mm.
you imagine a 6'2" forward or 6'3", 6'4" forward coming out on the perimeter trying to guard me with my
Yep.
athleticism and my guard mindset that I've already had built? And she's like, you just gotta. She's like, just trust the process. Like,
Hmm.
she helped me. She introduced me to sliding into the slot and transition and things like that. Catching the ball for a ball rotation or catching the ball to attack the basket or even shoot the ball from that position. She really puts an emphasis on me rebounding the ball and defending because of my length and my athleticism and my motor. And honestly, she's helped me to understand that my success can go beyond being a guard and things like that. So
What position did you play in high school?
everything.
Okay, yeah, yeah, high school, everything. Okay,
Yeah.
what about JUCO?
JUCO, I was a guard. I was a 2 or 3.
Wow, you 2, 3. And what do you remember what Houston and schools like that were recruiting you as?
So Houston, I was gonna try to walk on. I wasn't offered by University of Houston. College of Southern Nevada was gonna keep. I think he was gonna keep me as a guard. Honestly,
Mm.
he probably would have seen my body frame and probably changed his mind too. Honestly, Coach Richards putting me at the 4 was probably the best move that she made for me and my team. Honestly,
Hmm.
we're pretty guard heavy too, so I couldn't really
Yeah,
see myself just continue to play a guard on this
right.
roster anyway. And
Yeah,
our guards are great at what they do.
yeah.
Very good at what they do.
So being that you're new to the position and technically still learning it, what are the biggest things or at least one big thing that you want to see yourself improve on before the season ends and definitely before your senior season?
Um, Post defense.
Okay.
That's the thing I'm struggling with right now. As far as allowing the offensive player to get a better position on me. Um, So that's something that Coach Richards, she talks to me a lot about, how to beat them to the spot, how to move my feet and defend, how to not really get pushed forward in my defensive position or get pushed out of position to allow them to score, things like that. But really just post defense. Also, of course, rebounding the ball. That's something that I need to do a lot more and that I can do a lot more, and I look forward to doing a lot more.
Awesome. What has been your favorite thing about being at Jackson State?
My favorite thing about being at Jackson State, I have 3, I think.
Okay.
um the football games,
Okay. Yep.
best experience that I've like. My parent, I literally had to tell my parents to fly out here for a football game, and they
Really?
did. And
They
they
made
can
it?
tell you themselves, like, this was the best experience that I've ever seen. Like,
Wow.
as far as fans, the band, of course,
Yeah.
that's my second thing. Like, my grandpa has an ear for music, and he instilled it in me. And honestly, the band, like, if I wasn't a basketball player, I would probably go try to join the band. Like,
Mm.
I don't care if I had to play the smallest instrument. I just want
Hmm.
to be a part of it. Like that.
Wow.
That's a great group of people. And the third thing would be basketball, of course. Like the basketball games, the fan base, the way that our gym gets packed out for home games. That's the best thing.
And what would you say has been the biggest surprise about Jackson State?
The biggest surprise. The biggest surprise. Honestly, food selection in the caf.
Okay. Good or
Like,
bad?
it's good. It's
Okay.
great. It's amazing, actually. At Northwest, we ate really good. Like, we had really good food selection at Northwest. But the craziest thing that I've ever seen in the cafeteria here would have to be, I think it's the turkey necks. Like, I've never even seen a turkey neck until I got here. And I was kind of scared at first because it's not really appealing to the eye.
No,
But
it's
like
not.
when I tried it, I went back for another one, and then
Wow.
I went back for another one, and I called my mom and I'm like, I just tried a turkey neck, and she's like, well, I'm like, it was amazing. Like I need you to learn how to make turkey necks for when I come home. Like that was, I think that's the most surprising thing. Um, I can't really think of anything
No,
else
that's a good one.
because yeah.
Has she ever heard of turkey necks or
Of
tasted
course,
that
yeah. My
before?
mom
She had?
has, yeah. It was
Okay.
just like she. That's why when I told her like I'm happy about it. I'm like, mommy, I just tried. She's like, okay,
Wow.
like how was it? Like,
Look at you
but
becoming a
yeah.
Mississippi girl. Slowly but surely. Another
My
year,
mom
yeah,
says
you'll be
that all the time. She literally says that all the time.
yeah, you'll have that accent soon. That southern accent.
No. When I got my boots, when I
Uh-huh.
got my first pair of cowgirl boots, my mom's like, "Oh Lord,
It's happening. Yep. You say it's
oh
happening.
Lord."
Oh man. And speaking of surprises, you're also on an NIL deal with KC 1400. How big of a surprise and how big of a blessing has that been for you, especially being so far from home?
Um, I was very excited. As soon as we received our opportunity to be on this contract and to be with such a great group of people.
Hmm.
Shout out Ken Clark,
No doubt.
honestly. Um, I couldn't wait to call my family like, yo, I just got my first NIL, like, and they were just so excited, so ecstatic just to hear. And honestly, I can't wait to continue to build our relationship together and to continue with the NIL. So yeah.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, this has been a pleasure. This has been a blast. But before you go, I can't let you go without putting you on the hot seat. I'm gonna put you on that. Yeah, I like that look. I like that look. I wasn't gonna do it. I was on the fence. Gotta do it. I gotta put you on the hot seat. So I have a bunch of questions here, and you just gotta give me your honest answer. I mean, it's pretty simple. No explanation, no rules. Just give me your answer. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So you're out having dinner with all your teammates. Y'all are at a restaurant. Okay. And it's time to pay, and you reach in your pocket or your purse or whatever, and you realize you don't have your card. You left it at home. You left it in the hotel room. Let's say you're out on the road. You left it in the hotel room. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a way to pay, and you're embarrassed. Who's gonna be the first teammate who's just gonna say, "Oh, don't worry, I got you." First teammate.
I'll have to say Zoe Cooper or Tierney Kelsey.
Okay, they're gonna step up. All right, I love it. I
Most
love it.
definitely. They might fight over who's doing it,
Oh
honestly.
wow. Okay,
Yeah.
I like
I
that.
think so. I think
That's what's
those
up,
are the first two people. Yeah.
man. Fighting over it. I like that. Okay, that's what's up. Okay. All right, you walk into Coach Richard's office, and pretty much everybody's already in there. All the players, all the coaches, and everybody is just laughing hysterically. They're just like rolling on the floor laughing. So somebody apparently said something funny before you walked in.
Hmm.
Without asking, who most likely has everybody laughing?
Zoe.
Zoe. So she's funny
Yes.
like that.
Yes. I'm telling you, she's comedy. Like accidentally. I don't even think she knows she's that funny.
Okay, so it's not even on purpose. It's just that's just who she is. Just natural.
I wrote on the board one day before pregame, and I'm like, who's the funniest person on the team? And I listed everybody, and you had to put a check by who you feel like is the funniest. Everybody literally said Zoe. Like, it's
Unanimous.
Zoe. Like, she's the funniest
Unanimous.
person ever.
Okay. Yeah, we had her on Tiger Talk, but she didn't tell us about that. She didn't show too much of that personality. We're gonna bring her back up though. Got to bring her back on. All right. So you know how sometimes in high school they'll have the most likely to succeed category or award. Which one of your teammates would you give that award to outside of basketball? Most likely to
Most
succeed
likely to succeed.
besides yourself, other than yourself.
Amaya.
Oh, okay, Maya Barnes. Okay.
All of them, I know all of them are going to be successful, but
Of course. Of course.
that is honestly, that's a great person. Like, she's a
Mm,
really good person. She's a very hard worker. She does what she has to do no matter the circumstances, no matter how tired she is. She's a person that does the behind the scenes work that's behind the scenes. Like,
awesome.
she's up at 5 a.m. We don't practice till 8 o'clock. She's in the gym at if the gym is open and the boys aren't in there, she's in the gym before practice. She's running around the gym. She's getting
Wow.
her laps in. She's a very hard worker. And honestly, that lady, She's a God-fearing woman as well.
Mm,
She's her faith is very strong. It's nothing that anybody could do or say to pull her away from it. And that's, like I said, that's a very good woman.
wow, I love it. I love it. Shout out to Amaya Barnes.
Shout out her.
All right. She's the most likely to succeed. Who's most likely to succeed as a head basketball coach? Who's that person that you can see doing that, being successful at it?
Not even to just continue to butter her bottoms, but Zoe Cooper.
Okay.
Honestly,
You can see her coaching. Okay.
yeah, most
All right.
definitely.
Most likely to be a CEO at a big company.
Mmm. Nana.
Anna?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Master
I could
Nana.
actually see that. I could actually see that. Yeah, she really has her head on straight.
Yeah, shout
Really has
out
her head on
Legacy
straight.
Streetwear
Yeah,
Apparel. She actually has a
no doubt.
clothing brand, so
Yeah, she mentioned it
I
on the
think
show.
that I think her clothing brand is gonna continue to grow and to
Hmm.
she's gonna be
That's right.
very successful within that.
Yeah, love her. She was on the show, and one thing that stood out, she talked about when choosing where she wanted to go to school, she looked at academics first. So
Yeah,
rules some schools out if they didn't have what she was looking for academically. So yeah, I can see that.
exactly.
All right, teammate who's most likely to play professionally.
Mmm. Talia Dilworth,
TD. Okay.
most definitely.
All right.
I hope she continues from here.
All right. So last one. Last one. So you're in the game. All right. You
Mhm.
look over at the scores table. You see your girl Zoe kneeling down, ready to check in. So
Mhm.
most likely that's going to be for you.
Mhm.
But you haven't been out there that long, so it shouldn't be time for you to come out yet. So
Mhm.
you figure you must have done something wrong. You must have done
Mhm.
something that Coach Richards didn't like. So you can already hear her voice. You can already hear her voice in your head getting on you about something. Tell me
Right.
what she's probably getting on you about. Do it in her voice.
um,
Now you don't have to do that.
she probably tell me it's like no, you can't be right there. I don't need you to run to the corner. I need you to run to the rim first, and then post up. And I need you to duck and dive. I need you to rise and dive with your buddy. I need you to stay in that area. That's where you're gonna be most successful at. That's where you're gonna take the most efficient, high percentage shots. Like that's where you're
Okay.
gonna get the most rebounds at. I need you to run to the rim first.
Okay. I love it. So a real coach, always
Yes,
coaching,
most
going
definitely.
into detail, going into the specifics. I remember
To
when
a
I was,
T.
yeah, some coaches they pull you out and yell at you, and that's it. You don't still don't know what you did. Yeah, so
Right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. She's teaching. All right, all right. So I guess we'll let you off the hot seat. You did good. Great job.
Thank
Great
you
job.
so
Great
much.
job. Great job. All right. So before we let you go, social media, let the fans know where they can find you on Twitter and or well X and or Instagram.
On Instagram, I am Z4RIA, or you can just type my first and last name, Zaria Glover. I'm not really on Twitter like that. I don't really know
Okay.
the name for my Twitter, but
Okay.
yeah.
And then going back to that most likely to succeed. What about you? What about Zaria? What are you studying and what are your career goals after basketball?
So I'm studying journalism and communications with aspirations to pursue a career within sports media production, whether
Okay.
it be behind or in front of the camera. Also to maybe become a sports journalist.
Okay.
Very good with my words. I love to write. Honestly, I'm one of those who like essays. So if
Okay.
you need an essay done, but it's not gonna be for free. But I
There
got
you
you.
go. That's right. That's right.
Like,
You got a tax.
nah, yeah, I really like to write things like that, and I love sports. I want to stay around it. I want to stay
Okay.
around it for as long as I can. Honestly.
All right. So after the season, just let me know when you want to come host a podcast, when you want to step in and fill in.
Yeah,
We
it
got you.
sounds
Get
great. It
get
sounds
some
great.
experience. I'm serious. We've let the football
Me
players do it,
too.
so we'll
Me
do it.
too. I'm very serious about
Okay.
it. I
Uh,
definitely will.
All right. Well, we'll reach out. We'll make sure that happens. And the last thing, message to the fans. You said they always show you love and support. So what do you want to say to them?
Um, Message to the fans, to my biggest fans. Shout out my family back home. Thank you for the support, the continuous comfort, and just helping me through wherever any mental lapses or any
Mm,
adversity that I may face. Shout out to the Jackson State fans. Thank you for being so welcoming. Thank you for being so comforting. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for both of us.
no doubt. No doubt. And there you have it, Miss Zaria Glover. We
Thank you so
appreciate your
much.
time. We wish you the best, the very, very best.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night.
You too.
Tiger Talk TV is presented by Bet Online.